online with me, I got Mark Hoover and Gary Penta, the Florida boys, is coming to the 2024 Moonlight Gathering, and I'm excited to have them because these guys are the who's who in metal detector, man. Anybody that knows anybody knows these guys. They're a wealth of information. If you're coming to the Moonlight Gathering, hit these guys up, pick their brains, because these guys are some smart guys. These guys know all about treasure hunting. And at the 2024 Moonlight Gathering, these guys are going to share some incredible stories about Spanish gold and silver being found in the ocean and on the beach. But Mark and Gary, I don't want you to talk about that now, because I want these guys to come and hear you in person, and I want them to meet you in person. Well, I just want to tell these guys a little bit about who you are and how you guys got involved with treasure hunting. And with that said, I'm just going to turn the time over to you guys, Mark and Gary, and let you tell a little bit about yourself and whatnot, because like I said, you guys are a wealth of information, and these guys are in for a treat.
Gary, I'll let you go first.
So, yeah, I'm Gary Penta. I am from Florida, living in Florida, ex-military, married to ex-military wife, and I are both retired Air Force. And got into metal detecting after I left the military, just as I needed a hobby, to stay busy. And so moved around quite a bit. And so in Florida now, and I do a lot of everything. Obviously, you guys know I do a lot of the miniature work, which is a big passion of mine. Dioramas, miniature detectors. I mean, pretty much anything that I can make small, I do. But I do a lot of other things too.
Hold on, man. Hold on. Don't lose your thought, because I want to say this. I was in Florida, and Mark, yeah, and you found out I was there, and you invited me out to lunch or dinner. I can't remember, with you and your wife, Gail, and man, and that was great. I really appreciate you for that. But Gary, man, I stopped in at Kellygo, which is in Florida, and
Yeah.
I seen this cool looking miniature mock-up of the money pit on Oak Island, and I asked him, and there was your name on it too, and I talked to the girls there, and they says, oh, that's Gary Penta, man, you ought to see the work. So I started looking. I've been secretly stalking you, Gary, man. And the things you do with these miniatures, making the little teeny miniature metal detectors and things like that, it's just, I don't even know how it's professional. I don't even know how you can do that. Okay, sorry for interrupting you, but man, I wanted to tell that. Hit it.
Oh, thanks. I appreciate that. Yeah, it's kind of weird. I didn't do, like, a lot of people ask me, did you do model railroading when you were young? The answer is no. Did you do a lot of model building? The answer is not really. Just it was one year, probably about 10 years ago, that I wanted to make I have a younger sister. I wanted to make her something special for Christmas, so I bought a kit. And I put this kit together, and it was a diorama of like a living room, so I wanted to make it like Christmas theme. But I didn't like the way it came out, so I kept adding to it and adding to it and adding to it. And had working fireplace and Christmas tree lights, and I found out all the toys. I remember all the toys she had as a young girl. So I actually created miniature boxes of all the different toys, and I hid them throughout the house diorama. Whereas, like, if you look through one window, you can see there's a box under a couch, and there's one hidden behind a tree. Anyway, she went crazy over it, and she really encouraged me to continue with it. And so I did. I kept doing a few more dioramas here and there. And then one day I decided to make a miniature metal detector, and really liked it. I really liked doing it. And I love the reaction from people when they saw it. So, yeah, I did that. And thanks for the compliments. I love going to events, and I've given away hundreds upon hundreds of my artwork. I think Mark has a whole wing in his house dedicated to some of my work.
It
Cool.
is.
Yeah. So, but on top of that, I also I metal detect. I love traveling. Mark and I love, we travel together. We go to a lot of different events. I really enjoy doing that and meeting people. But I'm also a diver, as Mark is. We've dove together for Megalodon Teeth over on Venice, which will be showcasing some of that material out in Utah.
Cool.
I've also, one thing about the artwork is it's opened a lot of doors for me. I get a lot of invites for different things, everything from going out on boats for diving on treasure wreck. I dive on a couple different boats down in South Florida. on the 1715 fleet wreck sites. And that's was because of my art. Had a chance to go to Alaska with Mark and KG and Rainey, and we hunted for gold up in Alaska as well as Montana. So the artwork has, I enjoyed it a lot, but it's also opened quite a bit of doors and allowed me to experience a lot of really cool things um, lately, especially in the last 10 years or so. So,
Well,
yes.
cool. So man, I'm jealous about diving on the shipwrecks and Spanish galleons hunting for Spanish treasure. I can remember seeing when I was just, geez, it had to be in the early 60s, early 60s. I remember seeing a show on TV, and back then there wasn't a lot of TV, but it showed these Florida treasure divers finding Spanish sunken galleons and treasures. And at that young age, man, I was making plans. I was going to learn how to scuba dive. I was going to go find me some of them gold bars, and I did eventually went scuba diving, and I did eventually tried to find me a Spanish galleon, but I went in a place there's probably not even Spanish galleons, man. It was a national park in Cozumel, Mexico, and the dive master says, "Whoa, you got to get that out of here." But so I never got to do that, but I'm envious.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Yeah, one of the boats that I dove with just several weeks ago, they found a nice coin spill. I think about 200, Mark, about 200 coins.
Yeah, 200 reals. Yeah.
Yes, and so this stuff is still coming to the surface. These ships sank in 1715 in a hurricane and got scattered up and down the coast. And I'd say a very large majority of it was just, was recovered during the 60s, 70s, 80s. But it's still coming up. It's still, Mark's going to tell a story about probably one of the most fabulous recoveries of 1715 treasure while we're out in Utah. So yeah, it's a lot of cool things. Florida's great because you can do this stuff basically almost 24/7. Right now it's kind of hot, but we can metal detect all year round. We can go in the water practically all year round. So yeah, I feel very fortunate, to live here in Florida, be able to enjoy my hobby. I met Mark, and we do a lot of fun things together. We're really looking forward to coming out to Utah.
Cool. So I know that Mark introduced me to all them major treasure divers. Man, I am so grateful, Mark, because they were a lot of great people. They were a lot of great guys. But you introduced me to Taffy Fisher Apt, who was Mel Fisher's daughter. And they're the ones that found the Etosha, and I got to talk with her thanks to you, Mark. Anyways, she was telling me that the Etosha, they've already. She was telling me that they haven't even found half of what's on the manifesto of that dive wreck, and they're still looking. I thought they found everything, and they didn't even find hardly nothing of what's really there, and they found a lot. So when you're saying this, that there's a lot out there and a lot to be found still, you ain't a kidding, because man, there's just a lot of stuff out there.
Well, there's a story about Mel Fisher before he passed. A gentleman came into his office and asked him the question, how much is still out there? And he had some sand, and he put a little bit of sand on his desk. And he took a few grains of sand and he pulled them off, and he said, this is what we found. He goes, this pile of sand over here, that's what's left. So there are millions and hundreds of millions of dollars worth of treasure still out there, maybe even to the billions. We know of various wrecks that around the world that still have treasure that has not been recovered yet.
Yeah, and like you said, Gary, they just found them, just finding more just the other day, a little big clump of it, So
Yeah.
that's the cool thing about Florida. I'm jealous that you guys are out there, man. But I'm glad you guys are coming to visit us at the Moon Lake Gathering and share some of your stories. I know you're holding some of these back because you're gonna a surprise for these guys of what's going on. But anyways, Mark, you're up.
All right. Well, so, I've always been interested in treasure hunting. In fact, I was following Mel Fisher when I was a kid. I would read all the articles, I'd look up every magazine that talked about it. before he ever found the ocean. And I knew that he was looking for it. In fact, right after high school, I got certified. That's more than a few decades ago, for the intent of going back down there and seeing if I could become a diver. But I went to school at Florida State after high school to get a degree, and I went off in a different direction. But I think as I got older, that desire, it never goes away. It's in your DNA. If you're interested in it, it's always there. And so around 2016, I got reinterested in metal detecting. And then I went over to Kellyco, which was the largest distributor of metal detectors in the United States. And they weren't very far from us. And spent a half a day there, picked out a metal detector. I got a Garrett AT Pro that I still have. And that's really started it. So I've been doing it now faithfully for about 8 years, just going around, traveling around on different adventures. I actually started a Facebook group called Adventures in History, where I'm encouraging people to share their treasure stories, their adventures, historical stories. And it's not all around metal detecting. It's around history. It's around adventures, the things that happened, Civil War, Revolutionary War, different things. And it's not just the United States. It could be anywhere in the world. So I started that, and Gary started mydetecting.com, where you can see all of his miniature creations that he's done, which is phenomenal. Like he said, I've got almost a whole wing in my house of Gary Penta art. And there's a really interesting story about how we met. We both are members of the Central Florida Metal Detecting Club. And one particular Friday night we were there, I was there with my wife and my granddaughter, Solo, who also metal detects. And Gary had donated a miniature metal detector that was an exact replica of my Garrett AT Pro. And they were drawing for people to come up and pick different things that they wanted on the giveaway table. And my granddaughter got picked, and she walked up and she said, "Well, that little metal detector would go great with my doll collection." So she picked it. And as soon as she picked it, I'm thinking in my mind, that's not going in your doll collection. That's going in our display case, because it's an exact replica that I had never seen anything like it. And since then, I have seen people all over the United States and locations around the world reach out to Gary to try to get him to make his miniature art for whatever they're looking for, and it's really, Gary doesn't sell it. It's a very special thing to have. And so that was our first introduction. And since then, we've been to Alaska together. We've been to Montana. We've been to Arkansas. We're getting ready to go to Utah together. We've been diving together, as he was talking about. So we've done a lot of things. And as it relates to the 1715 fleet, I'm going to just give you a little bit of a teaser. So what I'm going to be talking about, and Gary's going to talk about it from the perspective of being a treasure diver, is the Jimmy Crossbones treasure. And people always come up to me and they say, "Can you really find treasure with a metal detector today?" And this Jimmy Crossbones story is a great story of how a man on the beach using a metal detector found a large hoard of gold and silver coins and relics from the 1715 fleet. And it's a great story. His name is Jim Tippett. He goes by Jimmy Crossbones. So when we're out in Utah with you guys, we're going to share that story and talk a little bit about the 1715 fleet, how Jim found what he found. And and also as we go out there, we're interested in hearing some of the other stories out there and meeting all the other treasure hunters and learning from them. And then Rob Johnson from is going to be representing Fisher out there. And we're also bringing James Oakfar from Boise, Idaho, who runs Tough Run Metal Detecting. And then finally, we're also going to be joined by Casey Dittman, who owns Excalibur Shovels. And he's going to be bringing all of that with him, all of his equipment, and anybody that's interested in looking at some really good shovels. I have one. They're phenomenal. I mean, you can't break it. I mean, you could do anything you want to it, but it's made out of aircraft steel. And yeah, so Casey's going to be joining us, and Casey's from northern Utah as well, and has some of his own treasure stories from out there. So yeah, it's exciting for us. We're looking forward to it.
So I just want to back up and highlight a few things, and I'll try and I can't remember exactly what you said, but Casey Dittman, the owner of Excalibur Shovels, which is known worldwide for a premier metal detecting shovel for digging up your finds. They're coming to the Moon Lake Gathering. He's from Utah. I didn't know that, man. Mark, thanks for introducing me to him, and then you, Mark, your Facebook group. The guys need to go out there and check out your Facebook group,
Adventures
in History,
right.
Because it's a great resource. It's a great place for stories, and there's a lot of great guys out there on that, and you'll get to meet a lot of great people and learn some great tips and great stories and all kinds of things like that. And you need to go check out Gary's website to see what you're talking about. These little metal detectors that he makes. They are unbelievable. And that your website, Gary, was
mydetecting.com.
Say that again.
mydetecting.com.
You need to go check out these little you got pictures on there of them, I think, don't you?
Yeah. One of the tabs that is at the top is for dioramas, and one of the tabs is for miniature detectors. I've actually got dozens and dozens of pictures of people holding the miniature detectors that I've either given them or they've won, including Mark. And it's almost like faces and like a wall that I keep. But one last thing, or at least I want to talk about is, Mark's going to talk a lot about 1715 treasure, and yes, I've done that. But one of my other passions is diving on the other coast, over on the west side in Venice, and diving for megalodon teeth, which is kind of goes pretty good with the theme of the event. But I wanted to, you talked about a teaser. I want to give you a teaser. So Mark and I are going to be, we're building a display, and here's one of the items that that somebody's going to take home from the event.
Oh, cool.
That is about a 4 1/4-inch megalodon tooth. And we're going to, put it on display, and we're going to raffle it off. And, that comes from a 42-foot shark. That's probably anywhere up to 20 million years old. So, we're going to bring some cool stuff with us. We got artwork. We've got beautiful jewelry that's been donated by one of our really good friends. We got coins, just all kinds of cool stuff. A lot of freebies too. And so come see us at the table, and we're going to be hanging out, talking to people, and giving stuff away.
Yeah, we're one of the things that Gary and I have done is we've developed some good relationships with people that would like to get some exposure, and have really done some good things that are going to adding to this. But we're going to be raffling off a megalodon tooth, and we're going to be raffling off this aviator watch with a waterproof dive case, a 2024 Morgan silver dollar. So, and we're not going to tell everything now what we're going to do, but we are going to make it worth their while to come by and talk to us, and we'll be there with Fisher, and Fisher's donating a Gold Bug Pro for anybody that likes metal detecting for gold, as well as one of their pinpointers, an F-Pulse pinpointers, and I use that one as well, and it's a really good pinpointer. And of course they'll be there. So yeah, and by the way, I think Gary and I ought to copyright the Florida Boys. I love that moniker he gave us on the front end of this. So the Florida Boys are going to be there, and we're gonna trademark that name, I guess.
Heck yeah, the Florida Boys are coming to the 2024 Moon Lake Gathering. And so I just want to say that, we have a lot of high top caliber speakers coming and speaking to us, and like you guys, and nobody is getting paid for this. I don't make a dime. I got to pay for myself to get there, my room and board. Even though you guys are speaking to us, you don't get paid. And so one of the things that you're doing to help cover your cost is you're going to have a raffle to raffle off this stuff to help cover your costs to get out here. Some of our people that are speaking have books, and so they're going to be selling their books to help cover their costs. But this is a great event for everybody to get to network. This is like if you was in business and you needed to go to a networking meeting to meet new people, this is like this for the treasure hunters, for the Bigfoot, for the UFO, for the outlaw stuff, because nowhere can you go to rub shoulders with these people from all over the country, and you need to talk with people, and especially to rub shoulders with you guys. These guys are some of the premier detecting people of the world. Plus, they got great stories to tell, great information to share. You need to come up and talk to these guys, grab them and bend their ear and hear their stories, besides what they tell us. So, I am just excited that you guys have agreed to come, because you guys got a lot of great stories there in Florida.
We're looking forward to it, and we're looking forward to meeting all the folks that are working with you. And of course, Terry, I know you, and Gary and I are excited to come out to northern Utah. And one of my favorite shows on TV is Skinwalker Ranch, and I know we're not going to be that far from Skinwalker. We're going to be there in the Uintas, so I'm kind of excited about just getting out there and talking to people about what's going on out there in northern Utah. That's a lot of stuff out there.
So you're right. We're not that far from Skinwalker Ranch, and but one of the owners of the ranch is right next door to Skinwalker Ranch. Their property line butts up. He's got a lot of strange things goes on his property too, and he's done his own research stuffs. He's going to be there talking to us, and he's got some great stories to share. Crazy stories to share, and I don't want to tell him here because I don't want to ruin if that's what he's going to talk about. Crazy things he's going to talk about. It's crazy, but I want to highlight on Fisher metal detectors too. That they have agreed to come out and help support us. So that you can come out if you want to know anything about metal detecting. The type of metal detectors, where to hunt, all that. Very rare. I don't know if a major manufacturer from a metal detecting company that's United States based, but any at all, has ever come to Utah, and they're coming to our Moon Lake gathering, the Fisher metal detector, man, and I really appreciate that. And you guys are in for a treat to see. I know that they've got some things planned. They've got lots of swag they're going to be giving out, but they're going to do it in a fun way where you got to learn how to do some metal detecting, and then you get some swag, and it's going to be a lot of fun. So.
That's exciting. Yeah, somebody's going to walk away with a nice metal detector and even a pinpointer. So, and a lot of people don't know that Fisher is one of the oldest metal detecting companies in the world. They've been around a long time. They do a lot of research and development. I know they're working on some new projects. So yeah, they're going to be out there joining us out there.
We're pretty lucky. Well, any last words? Anything you guys want to say?
I just wanted to say, thanks for the invite to come out. We go to a lot of events, but most of the time they're metal detecting events. So this is something unique and new, especially, for me, being able to go out and see all these different, I'm a treasure hunter. Mark's a treasure hunter. I think we can all say, we're treasure hunters, but we're going to meet people who are treasure hunters off the chart. Whether it's, UFOs or Bigfoot or hidden caves up in the mountains. This is just going to be an event that is going to be something really worth remembering and talking about.
Yeah, I was just going to add to that, Terry, that some people know that my slogan is "Have adventure, will travel." And so if anybody out there listening to this has a really good adventure, they can reach out to Gary or I, and we'll take a look at it. I actually have done some treasure hunting down in southern Utah, And that's a different story altogether. But I've been in Utah. I've been there a lot. I've been in mostly southern Utah. So this will be a new adventure for us. But we're always looking for the next adventure. So anybody seeing this who has something they think it's worthwhile for us to take a look at, give us a shout.
Cool. So I just want to say that that's what I am as a treasure hunter. I'm not really a Bigfoot person. I'm not really a UFO person. But when you're up in these UN mountains, things like that just happen, I haven't seen a UFO, I haven't seen a Bigfoot, but I've heard things and I've smelt things and I'm thinking, man, what is that? So there is going to be a lot of cool people there. You never know who's going to show up. You just never do. The stories that are going to come out, that you never know. Sometimes artifacts come out. People are shy and afraid to bring artifacts and show them, but every now and again, they do show up. And if you see a small group huddled up, man, kind of mosey on over there and kind of eavesdrop or something. Even if you don't want to talk, just kind of listen, because there's going to be a lot of things said that's not part of the program, just because there's that, people from all over the country come. So with that said, I appreciate you guys, and I'm looking forward to especially you, Gary, meet you in person. I've already met Mark in person, but I'm looking forward to seeing you guys again at the 2024 Moon Lake Gathering in August 23rd, 24th, 2024 in Altamont, Utah, where we're not that far from Skinwalker Ranch, where we're not that far from Blind Frog Ranch, where there's all kinds of things happen with Spanish treasures in the Uinta Mountains, with Bigfoot, with UFOs, and you already know this, Mark, but the Fisher family, Mel Fisher with the Etosha, they came out to the Uintas and looking and trying to do some deals with the tribe out here. But there's a lot of cool things out here. And with that said, I appreciate you guys, and we'll see you then. And that's a wrap.